Welcome everyone. This is Amy Engelmark of Amy Engelmark Coaching. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I'm welcoming you into my home today where I broadcast live the Healthy Wealthy Leader webinar series. If you're just joining me for the first time, what I like to get you to do is put your name and where you're from in the chat box up here. And then I can tell you my story. I can tell you what this webinar is all about, a little bit about myself as I train you, and then we get into the topic of our webinar series. So the Healthy Wealthy Leader is all about helping you become more successful in your business and your personal life, particularly helping you take more time off consistently, have excellent health even when you're very successful in business, and be able to manage your time so that you can increase your productivity and wealth as your stress levels decrease. That's what I teach my clients in my group coaching program, the Healthy Wealthy Leader, and that's what I teach my private clients as well. Those three main topics. So if you struggle in any of those areas, if you feel like you don't have enough time for yourself, or you don't have enough time for your health, or you'd like to be spending more time having fun with your family or going out on dates with your spouse, your partner, your boyfriend, girlfriend, if you feel like you'd like to be increasing the success of your business and making more money, if you fall in any of those categories, you're in the right place, and I welcome you here today. I'll tell you a little bit about myself and my background. I started training as a life coach, let's say over 11 years ago, about that time frame, and I was juggling a lot, and I was learning a lot about how to have healthy boundaries so that I didn't get walked on by people in business and in my personal life. It's a really, really important lesson for all of us to learn. At that point, I felt like I was being taken advantage of by some people, and it was making me feel really angry and a bit trapped because I didn't know how to deal with it at the time. I didn't know how to clearly communicate, how to stand up for myself, and how to do that without feeling like I was terrified. So I was really held back from being as successful as I could be at that time because I didn't have the tools. And it was really frustrating to not know what to do in that situation where somebody is inappropriate or they're acting in ways that are unacceptable. Thankfully, through my coaching training and my personal life experiences, through all of the hours that I've spent in live workshops, over the phone, coaching people privately, in my group coaching programs, I now can happily say that I have learned a ton. And the knowledge and tools that I have applied to my life have dramatically changed how I face conflict now, how I can communicate with confidence instead of my top being blown off and reacting to people who I feel treat me in ways that are unacceptable, or people who are displaying behavior that's inappropriate. So a little bit about my background there. What I've learned, I always pass on to my clients, and they have gotten the same fantastic results and have seen the same changes in their relationships at work and in their personal lives. So I'm really happy that what I teach makes a difference in my clients' lives. For anyone who gets to watch me live, it's a real gift that I can give you. So in this webinar training today, we're going to be focusing on the 5 tips for dealing with inappropriate, even unacceptable behavior in your personal life and in your business world. For those of you who are joining me live right now, welcome. I see that some of you are joining me live right now, so put your name and where you're from in the chat box to the right. If you answer the question at the bottom or at the end of our coaching training class today, then I'm going to give you a copy of the book. It's called, I don't have it with me, T. Harv Eker wrote a book that I feel is fantastic for anyone who wants to be more successful in business. And I refer my clients to read it. It's called Secrets of the Millionaire Mind, and I'm going to buy a copy for you. So if you answer the question correctly at the end of the call, I'll send you this book in the mail. It's my treat for you for joining me live. For those of you who are watching the replay, I am going to get a link to the first 2 chapters of my upcoming book. It's called From Burnout to Bliss, and it's a 21-day plan to boost your health, your wealth, and your free time. It's in the process of being edited and formatted so that I can get it in your hands and get it published. So here is the link right now to the first 2 chapters of my book. Again, for those of you who are joining us live, I'm just going to have a glass of water, sip of water, and put your name and where you're from in the chat box so I can see who's joining us today, and so that I can communicate with you and interact with you so you can ask me questions freely. I welcome all your questions today on our training topic today, dealing with inappropriate and unacceptable behavior. So if you have any questions, you need any kind of clarity, let me know during the training and I'll answer it as soon as I can, okay? Okay, let's hop in. I have had an experience recently, and so have my clients, dealing with inappropriate behavior in our personal lives and also in business. So that's why this has been at the top of my mind to talk about and to teach on today, because I know that it's not just myself who deals with this. It's not just my clients who deal with this. You have probably experienced this, or maybe you're even experiencing this kind of discomfort and conflict and frustration when it comes to inappropriateness or unacceptable behavior. So let's tackle this head on. Get your pen and your paper, and we will dive in. Hello, Kristen. I'm glad it's a well-timed topic. I find that that happens often in life. When you need something, you get given it. So here you go. Nice to see you, and I haven't seen you on the webinars for a while. Welcome. So the first tip, I have my notes here. As you see me looking away, I'm double checking my notes, is to not excuse poor behavior. What I have done in the past is I have said, well, it doesn't really matter. You know, it's not that big of a deal, and I kind of sweep the poor behavior under the carpet. Visually, that's what it would look like. And you can make excuses for other people and cover up other people's messes, thinking, well, that kind of behavior in the workplace, like let's say gossiping or lack of listening to directives, maybe it's something inappropriate that was said to you. Well, you know, it's just the first time that it's happened, or maybe it's just the second time that it's happened. I don't think it's going to be a big deal. I don't think there's going to be any kind of really big, long-lasting negative impact. So I'm not going to do anything about it. I'm going to avoid the conflict, pretend it's not that big of a deal. This is what you do not want to do. You don't want to make excuses for other people's poor behavior. If you find that it's an issue for you, then it simply is an issue. If you are a leader, you're a manager, maybe you're a director, and you oversee a team or you have employees, this is really important for you. If you ignore behavior and you decide not to face conflict, you're going to notice some really negative side effects starting to take place within your team relationships. On a personal level, if you don't do anything about the problem, the inappropriate behavior, the unacceptable behavior, you're going to stay frustrated inside. You're going to stay unhappy and maybe feel like you've been taken advantage of. I know how this feels. It sucks. You don't want to dwell in those, wade for too long in those feelings. The second point is to decide where your boundary line is. Recently, like I was saying, I had to decide, where will my boundary line be? What have I been settling for? This is a great question to write down for yourself. What have I been settling for? And what will I no longer tolerate? Write yourself a good list. Maybe you've been settling for a lot of inappropriate behavior. Maybe if you're a leader on a team, you've been settling for unacceptable behavior that's starting to impact the productivity of your team. Maybe it's starting to impact the culture or the morale of the people on the team. And it's starting to leach into your system in ways that you didn't want to see. So what are you no longer willing to tolerate, and what have you maybe been settling for? I was settling for some behavior from a few particular people, and I was actually doing the first thing I told you not to do, which was making excuses for other people. I don't know why I did it, but it was a great, 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 great important lesson. And you will find that until you face conflict with these type of people, you will be given opportunities. I'll call them opportunities, even though you don't want them, to deal with the same situation until you actually face the discomfort and face the conflict and take the action necessary to turn the situation around and feel strong as an individual, as a woman, as a man in your role at work or at home. If you're just joining us, I see more people are joining. Please put your name and where you're from in the chat room as I train, because I want to be able to interact with you and share with you my tips and strategies that really work in my clients' lives and my life. But I want to know who I'm talking to. So let me know who's on and ask me your questions when you have them. Okay? So we covered not making excuses for people's poor behavior. We covered deciding where the boundary line is. And a little bit more on that. Once you've decided, okay, I have this list of what I've been settling for. I have this list of what I will no longer tolerate. This is like, okay, making a clear line in the sand for myself and for other people now. Because people treat you the way you accept depending on the behavior that you've shown them you accept, they'll keep treating you in the same way. You need to show them, listen, things have changed and this is no longer okay with me. But until you are clear with people, they're not going to change. And a lot of people will walk over you because that's the type of people they are. They'll take advantage of you unless you're very direct. I used to think I didn't need to be very direct. I could joke around with people and kind of dance around the issue at hand that was really frustrating me. And for a lot of people that behave in inappropriate or unacceptable ways, you need to cut to the chase. You need to be very clear and very forward with this personality type, or they won't get it, or they'll think you don't really mean it, and that maybe you're playing around with them too. That's happened to me as well. You don't want people to respond in that way. You want them to take you seriously. So don't make excuses for people's poor behavior. Don't joke around. Be clear. So are you going to tolerate gossip in the workplace if you're a leader? Are you going to tolerate favoritism? This was happening with one of my clients, and he's dealing with it right now. One of his leaders was showing favoritism towards a few people in the office, spending business money on these two individuals in particular, and the rest of the staff noticed that he was treating everyone unequally. So how does that affect a company? Not well. It doesn't make a cohesive team. It doesn't make a happy team. So what are you still settling for? Maybe you've said, by not communicating about things, maybe you've said it's okay to behave in sexist ways towards me. Maybe that's happened in your personal life, or maybe it's even happened in your business setting, and that's not cool. But people don't know that it's not cool unless you tell them. This is the point. Let's move on. Number 3 is to uncover the beliefs that may have held you back from facing conflict. So some of the top beliefs that I hear my clients say are, well, if I face conflict, people are going to think that I'm rude. And if I face conflict, people are going to judge me. If I face conflict, maybe people will avoid me and the situation will get worse. This is what fear tries to tell us. If I face conflict, then what else have I written down? Oh, here's a really important, powerful one. I don't trust myself. If that is something you've allowed to take up brain space, then this is a big one you need to change. It will be very helpful for you to stop believing that you don't trust yourself. If you have been like a volcano in the past and you verbally vomited on someone, you've reacted so quickly that you haven't had time to think and to be objective about how you want to communicate, then you may not trust yourself now to face conflict in healthy ways. So if that's you, put up your hand. I know I've exploded in the past when I've wanted others to use self-control and I haven't. So you know when it feels like, whoa, I was just a hypocrite there. I was just talking with a friend about a personal experience in my own life when I wanted others to use self-control and I wasn't even using self-control. So understand, take a little bit of time, maybe right now, to write down what kind of beliefs hold me back from being clear and straightforward when I communicate with people. When someone does something and I feel it's unacceptable or inappropriate, why have I held back? Ask yourself that question, because our beliefs are the things that make us take action or not take action. They propel us forward or they hold us back. So what kind of beliefs have held you back from dealing with uncomfortable conflict? And ask yourself, is it going to be more helpful to dwell in this land of frustration and anger, maybe blame because of something someone said or done, or is still saying or doing? Or will facing conflict, even though it's uncomfortable, lead you to more success and freedom in those relationships, in your business growth, in your personal growth? I can say from all of my experience, business-wise and personally, it's uncomfortable to face conflict, but it's way more helpful. And you think you're saving yourself from experiencing discomfort by avoiding it, but you're not. You're dwelling in this land of constant discomfort because you think facing it will be more painful. It's actually not. It will lead you to a place of ease and freedom, and also greater confidence, because you're practicing stepping out and standing up for what's right for you. Let me know, what are you getting out of this so far? How is this training really hitting a chord, striking a chord for you? How is it helping you most? What points are standing out for you in this training? I want to make sure that this is really, really helping you right now. So let me know. Give me your feedback, okay? And we'll talk about the last 2 keys in today's training. So number 4 is to ask for clarity. If you don't understand someone's point of view, or you don't understand why they would take that kind of an action, it's really important that you don't assume. This is something that I've been working on for a long time. Not assuming before I speak or before I respond. It can get you in a whole lot of trouble. And I'm sure that you guys have experienced it as well, or some of you, or maybe your aunts have, or your spouse has. Maybe not you. But when you assume, you get yourself in a whole lot of trouble. So you want to be curious and you want to get clarity instead of assuming you know everything already about why they said or have done what's happened. If you don't, like I just said, if you don't get clarity and you just assume, you can actually blow the situation out of proportion and make it worse because you're not dealing with the true issue. You might even be labeling the person who you feel is causing the problem and making the situation much worse. What tends to happen, like I've seen in my clients' lives who are leaders of large and small teams, is that kind of the gossip, the slander, the inappropriate treatment of others, the favoritism, the unwillingness to listen to the directives of the leader and not take action, all of those things, what starts happening is the team gets negatively affected. People start trusting others less. There's not as much camaraderie or motivation, let alone productivity, and it really hinders and inhibits people from being able to give their best selves in business, being able to live your life with freedom on a personal level. When you don't talk about conflict, it really holds you back from shining. It really holds you back from being happy. It really holds you back from living the most full life that you can and be feeling that inner state of peace that everyone desires. That comes when you're being true to yourself, even if it's a really hard decision to make. The last point is to focus on the problem, not the person. This is so helpful because we can blame and we can resent others. But the true issue at hand is the issue, not the person. So when you're dealing with a conflict or someone who's done something inappropriate, focus on the action or the words and avoid judging the person, because it came from somewhere and you want to get to the bottom root of why they said or did what they did, instead of why they are such a bad person, what it must mean about them. And when you start focusing on that, the person, you start treating that person harshly. Typically, this is what can happen. Start judging them, and you're going to be met with the same kind of attitude. So it becomes conflict and headbutting instead of, okay, how can we focus on the solution and create a better working environment or a better working or personal relationship? How can we make this better, solution focused versus you are the problem? You don't want to focus on that. Differentiating the issue from the person. So important when you're dealing with inappropriate or unacceptable behavior. For those of you who are in this situation right now, I'm sending you all my love. It's really important to take a step back and breathe before you decide what your next action step is and how you're going to respond. For those of you who know that you've been wanting to take action and make changes in your lives, but you haven't felt like it's the perfect timing, I highly recommend you reach out to me, because everything we've been talking about today, this is what I'm really good at helping my clients do, is work on themselves and on their businesses to such a degree and with such tools and strategies that they start seeing amazing results so much more quickly than if you don't work with someone. And why I say to reach out is because on these webinars, I offer 1 hour spaces with me that are complimentary. They're a consultation where you're going to get such breakthroughs for free, because I want to give it to you. It makes me happy to be able to give this free time away. And there's one of two things that will happen when you take me up on this offer. There are only 3 1 hour time spaces with me. these breakthrough sessions are, they go quickly, and I don't have a lot. I don't offer a lot of them because I'm a mom. You guys know that. I'm a businesswoman. I'm a professional speaker, and my calendar is really full. So I just offer a few at a time so that I don't get too overwhelmed and don't extend myself. 2 things will happen if you contact me. One is you're going to feel like, wow, that was an amazing hour I spent with Amy. She gave me so many tips and strategies, and she showed me the action steps I need to put into place so that I can start getting into momentum and start seeing results and stop being held back by these things. The next thing that could happen is you're like, cool, that was such an awesome hour spent with Amy. I don't know if I've spent such amazing time on myself or my business like that, even in this whole past year. And I want to see what it would look like to work with Amy and what results she could help me achieve over the next 4 weeks, 12 weeks, 6 months. It's amazing what you can achieve when you have a mentor who's gone ahead of you, who can guide you and support you, and you can be accountable to. It's quite powerful. So if you're ready for a partnership like that, or you just want a taste tester and you want to take me up on one of these 1-hour breakthrough sessions, let me know. I'm going to put the link here, amyengelmark.com/breakthrough. There's the link to apply for the breakthrough session. And this is for those of you who have never worked with me before. And for those of you who want to be in contact with me, ask me any question you like. Amy@amyengelmark.com is how you can get a hold of me. And why don't you go ahead and tell me what your one takeaway was from the training today, while I think of a question to ask those of you who are still on live so that I can give a book to someone today. Okay, what will my question be? Well, this is kind of a tricky question. Who can tell me what it has been doing in the Comox Valley? What has been happening a lot outside here recently? What kind of weather have we been experiencing in the Comox Valley a lot this fall? Do you know the weather? Do not look on Google. What kind of weather have we been receiving? So the fish have been spawning, the salmon have been spawning, and we've seen a lot of eagles and seagulls circling about because their life cycle is done, and our beaches are a little bit smelly sometimes. Yes, Kristen, it has been like mostly torrential rain pour here. So I'm very thankful that, yes, and more rain and more rain. But thankfully, we get these breaks, 1 or 2 2-day breaks where we get beautiful sunshine to raise our spirits. Okay, Kristen, good. 2 takeaways. Ask for clarity is such a good reminder. I know, hey? Such a good reminder. And 2, you're so happy to recognize that I address the issue, not the person. Good. I know, it's like when you get a hold of the tool and you use it enough times, then it starts to be embedded in your system as a tool in your belt that you can just pull on at any time, and it's in your memory bank. So I'm so happy that you've differentiated the problem from the person, because then you can love people and be more compassionate and look at the situation from their perspective more easily as well, right? So you get the book, my friend. I don't know if I have your current address, so can you send it to my email? And have you read this book before? T. Harv Eker, The Secrets of the Millionaire Mind? Let me know. It's going to be a good one if you haven't read it before. Very, very helpful to me and the people that I coach, my current clients. So let me know, send me that email, Kristen. Let me know your current address. And thank you for everyone who joined live today. And for those of you who are watching the replay, I'm so glad you tuned in. And I hope that you are taking away a really big gold nugget, maybe one that's so big you need help to carry it. Enjoy your Wednesday. And thanks for tuning into the Healthy, Wealthy Leader webinar series. Share this video with anyone you feel it would be helpful for. Lots of love. Bye-bye.